All right, welcome back, everyone. Ready to dive in again for another deep dive?
Always ready.
Okay, cool. So today we are going to be wading into the waters of communication.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah, and specifically, how to avoid, some of those common pitfalls that might be turning women off
I like it.
without us even realizing it.
Yeah, those subtle things that can make a big difference, huh?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're going to be looking at this article. It's called 5 Things You're Saying That Turn Women Off and You Don't Even Know It.
Okay, interesting.
I gotta admit, when I saw this article title, I was a little intrigued.
Yeah.
And some of the things in here, I was like, oh, wow, okay.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I wonder if we're all guilty of some of these conversational faux pas. So let's jump in and find out.
Let's do it.
Okay, so first up, and this one kind of threw me for a loop. The article claims that showering women with compliments, especially, about their appearance, can actually backfire. Is that really true? I mean, who doesn't love a good compliment?
Well, it is true that people generally appreciate compliments,
Right.
but you have to think about it from her perspective,
Right?
right? I mean, if every guy she meets is leading with just a generic, "You're beautiful,"
Yeah.
those words start to lose their meaning,
So it's not about the compliment itself, but the lack of thought behind it.
Exactly. It comes across as insincere.
Okay.
Or worse, like you haven't bothered to really look beyond the surface.
Yeah, the article gives the example of, saying, "You're the most beautiful woman I've ever seen."
Right, which, let's be honest, you've probably said to like a houseplant at some
Oh,
point.
right, exactly.
She knows it.
Yeah.
And it just makes you indistinguishable from every other guy who's only focused on her looks.
Yeah.
And that's not exactly a recipe for building a genuine connection.
No, definitely not. So what's the alternative?
Well, it's all about being specific, right?
Okay.
Instead of just commenting on her general beauty, pick up on something unique about her personality, her style, her energy, something that shows you're paying attention.
So, like, instead of just saying, "You're gorgeous," you might say something like, "I love how your sense of humor is both sharp and kind,"
Exactly.
That was one of the examples from the article, and I was like, ooh, okay, I see the difference.
It's a great example because it's not just a compliment.
Yeah.
It's an observation.
Yeah.
It shows you're engaging with her on a deeper level.
Okay.
You're recognizing her for who she is, not just what she looks like.
All right, point taken. Let's move on to the next one.
Oh, okay.
Which I'm already feeling a little guilty about.
Huh?
Apparently, starting a conversation with, like, unnecessary apologies can actually weaken your presence.
Interesting.
Yeah, and I am a chronic, sorry to bother you offender.
Oh.
So what's the thinking behind that?
Well, it's all about the energy you're projecting, right?
Okay.
When you apologize up front, even for something small like interrupting someone's day, it subtly undermines your confidence.
Right.
It's like you're starting the interaction from a place of weakness.
So even if it's meant to be polite, it can have the opposite effect.
Exactly. I mean, think about it.
Okay.
You're essentially signaling that you see yourself as an inconvenience before you've even said anything of substance.
Right.
Not exactly a recipe for captivating someone's attention.
No, it's not. Okay, so confidence is key.
Yeah.
But how do we strike that balance between being assertive and, coming across as arrogant?
Sure.
I don't want to swing too far in the other direction.
It's a fine line, for sure, yeah.
Yeah.
But the key is to lead with value.
Okay.
Instead of apologizing, start with a confident statement or an engaging question that sparks her interest.
Can you give me an example? Like, let's say I'm approaching someone at a coffee shop.
Okay, so instead of saying, "Sorry to bother you,"
Right.
try something like, "I couldn't help but notice your book. Is that book title? I've heard great things about it."
Okay.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I see the difference.
It's direct, it shows you're observant,
Right.
and it opens the door for a genuine conversation.
You're not seeking permission to engage, you're offering something. Right.
Exactly. A
Yeah.
shared interest, an observation, an opportunity to connect.
And that's what being confident is all about.
Right.
Not puffing yourself up, but believing in your own value
Right, exactly.
and expressing it in a way that kind of invites others to share in it.
Exactly.
I like it. All right, I'm starting to get the hang of this.
Good.
Let's tackle the next one, which I think is particularly relevant
Okay.
in the age of like dating apps. The infamous "Hey" opener.
Oh, yeah.
Why is this such a conversational killer?
It's the conversational equivalent of a blank stare.
Right.
It conveys zero effort.
Yeah.
And it puts all the pressure on the other person to figure out how to keep the interaction going.
It's like saying, I'm here. Entertain me.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it shows a lack of, creativity, genuine interest.
Yeah.
I mean, would you start a conversation with a friend or a colleague by just saying, hey?
Probably not.
No, probably not.
So how do we avoid falling into this hey trap?
Well, I think about what you want to achieve with your opener,
Okay.
right? You want to pique her interest,
Yeah.
invite her to share something about herself, set the tone for a fun, engaging conversation.
Okay, so instead of just, hey, you could try something like...
I mean, it depends on the context, right?
Right.
But let's say you're on a dating app. You could say something like,
Yeah.
you strike me as someone who appreciates good music.
Okay.
What are you listening to these days?
Okay.
Or, I love that specific item of clothing or accessory, where did you find it?
Right.
Something like that.
Okay.
Right? It's about finding a genuine point of connection, even if it's small, and using that to spark a back and forth exchange.
It's so much more inviting and interesting.
Right.
It shows that you've actually taken the time to, look at their profile or observe something unique about them.
Exactly.
Okay, I like that a lot. All right, blunder number 4. This one's about showering women with excessive approval.
Okay.
And I thought, being supportive and enthusiastic was a good thing.
Yeah.
Why is this a problem?
Because if you're constantly gushing, that's amazing, or
Yeah.
wow, you're so cool.
Yeah.
To everything she says,
Right.
it starts to ring hollow. It feels performative rather than genuine.
So it's not about the sentiment, but the lack of authenticity behind it.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's like you're trying too hard to impress her,
Yeah.
which can actually come across as insecure or even manipulative.
Oh, wow.
It makes her question whether you're actually listening to her or just trying to win her approval.
I see what you mean. It's like that friend who agrees with everything you say,
Yes.
even if it's ridiculous.
Exactly.
And you're like, do you even have your own opinions?
Right. It's about finding that balance
Okay.
between being supportive and being authentic.
Okay.
You want to show enthusiasm for her,
Yeah.
but also for yourself and your own perspective.
Okay. So how do we express genuine interest without resorting to constant, over-the-top approval?
By engaging with her thoughts and experiences in a more nuanced way. Ask thoughtful follow-up questions. Offer your own perspective.
Okay.
Even playfully challenge her sometimes.
Can you give me an example? Let's say she mentions she loves to travel.
Okay, so instead of just saying, that's so cool,
Yeah.
you might say,
Yeah.
where's the most interesting place you've been?
Okay.
And where's at the top of your travel bucket list?
Okay. Yeah. I like that. It's still enthusiastic, but it also shows you're an active participant in the conversation.
Exactly.
Not just a passive cheerleader, right?
Exactly. And that active engagement
Yeah.
is a key ingredient in building attraction. It shows that you're not just trying to win her over. You're actually interested in getting to know her.
I like it. Good.
This is good stuff. All right. We are on a roll. Let's move on to number 5.
Okay.
The 5th and final blunder from this article.
Yeah.
And this one really piqued my curiosity. It's about asking for things instead of assuming attraction.
Interesting.
Can you elaborate on that?
We often approach dating with this mindset of, I hope she likes me.
Yeah.
And that can lead us to frame our requests in a way that actually undermines our own attractiveness.
Okay, give me an example.
So think about how you might ask someone outright.
Right.
Like, would you maybe like to go out sometime? Or can I get your number?
Yeah.
It comes across as hesitant,
Okay.
Almost like you're asking for permission rather than expressing a desire.
I see what you mean. It introduces this element of doubt.
Exactly.
Like you're not sure if they would actually want to spend time with you. Exactly.
Yeah.
And that lack of confidence can be a real turnoff.
Okay, so what's the solution?
It's about assuming the attraction is already there and expressing your intentions with confidence and clarity.
Okay.
So instead of, can I get your number? Try, I'd love to continue this conversation. What's the best way to reach you?
Oh, okay. So it's still polite,
Right.
but it's also direct and assertive. You're not asking.
Exactly.
You're stating your intention.
Yes.
I like it.
Yeah. And that subtle shift can make a huge difference in how you're perceived.
Right.
It shows you're comfortable taking the lead and you're not afraid to express your interest.
It's like you're saying, I'm interested and I trust that you are too.
Right.
It flips the script, right?
Yeah,
From a place of insecurity to a place of mutual attraction.
exactly. And that confidence, that belief in yourself,
Yeah.
and the connection you're building is incredibly magnetic.
This is all such great advice, but the article goes beyond these 5 main points.
Yep.
What else did you find particularly insightful?
Well, one thing that really resonated with me
Okay.
is the idea that attraction isn't about one grand gesture
Yeah.
or a perfectly crafted pickup line,
Right.
right? It's about the accumulation of all these small, subtle interactions.
Like you're weaving a tapestry thread by thread,
Exactly.
with each interaction either strengthening or weakening the connection.
Yeah, it's a great analogy.
Yeah, and that's why being mindful of our communication,
Absolutely.
both verbal and nonverbal, is so crucial.
It is.
You touched on nonverbal communication earlier.
You did.
Can we delve into that a bit more?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, our body language and vocal tone speak volumes, often even more than the words we're saying.
Right.
I mean, think about it, right?
Okay.
You can say, I'm interested, while avoiding eye contact and fidgeting.
Yeah.
And the message you're actually conveying is, I'm not interested at all.
That's so true. It's like that saying, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. Okay, so much of attraction hinges on those nonverbal cues. Eye contact, posture, facial expressions, vocal tone.
Yeah, they all play a role.
So let's break it down.
Okay.
What are some of the key nonverbal cues that we should be paying attention to?
Well, I mean, eye contact is paramount.
Yeah.
It's a sign of confidence, engagement, genuine interest.
I've heard people say that eye contact is like a window to the soul.
Interesting.
Is there any truth to that?
There's definitely something powerful about it, right?
Okay.
When you maintain steady eye contact with someone, it creates a sense of intimacy and connection.
Oh, on the flip side, avoiding eye contact can make you seem, I don't know, shifty, insecure, disinterested.
Exactly.
It's like you're hiding something.
Right. And it can make the other person feel like you're not fully present
Okay, yeah.
in the interaction.
Right, eye contact is a big one. What else?
Your posture is another key element.
Okay.
Standing tall, shoulders back, conveys confidence, self-assurance.
Like just taking up space and owning your presence.
Right. And it's not about, being aggressive or trying to dominate the space.
Right.
It's about feeling comfortable in your own skin
Okay.
and projecting that sense of ease and self-acceptance.
So no more slouching or crossing our arms defensively.
Yeah, try to avoid that.
Okay, what about facial expressions?
Right.
I feel like a smile can go a long way,
It can.
but I also don't want to come across as cheesy or, fake.
I mean, a genuine smile is incredibly powerful.
Yeah.
It instantly makes you more approachable and attractive.
Okay.
It signals warmth, kindness, sense of humor.
It has to be genuine, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Like a forced smile is worse than no smile at all.
Yeah, it can be, yeah.
Okay.
A genuine smile reaches your eyes, it crinkles the corners, lights up your whole face.
Yeah.
It's that spark of joy
Okay.
and connection that makes people want to be around you.
Okay, so we've covered eye contact,
Yeah.
posture, facial expressions. What about our voice? I know I tend to get a little nervous.
Okay.
And my voice will go up an octave when I'm, attracted to someone.
Yeah.
How do we project confidence and charisma through our vocal tone?
It's about being aware of your natural speaking patterns
Okay.
and making small adjustments to project a sense of ease and confidence.
Okay.
Speak clearly, enunciate your words, and project your voice from your diaphragm.
So no more mumbling.
Try to avoid it
Okay.
or trailing off at the end of sentences.
Got it. And be mindful of our pace as well.
Yes, absolutely. Speaking too quickly can make you seem nervous.
Right.
Anxious while speaking too slowly can come across as, boring or disinterested.
So it's about finding that sweet spot, that
Yes.
natural rhythm
Yeah,
that allows your words to flow effortlessly.
exactly.
Okay.
And don't be afraid to vary your pitch and tone too, right?
Yeah.
A monotone voice can be incredibly dull.
Right.
Think about how you'd tell a story to a friend.
Okay.
Your voice would naturally rise and fall, emphasizing certain points,
Yeah.
creating a sense of dynamism.
Like you're painting a picture with your voice.
Exactly.
Bringing your words to life.
Yeah, and that dynamism,
Okay.
that ability to express yourself with both confidence and vulnerability
Yeah.
is incredibly attractive.
This is making me realize how much our nonverbal communication
Yeah,
can either enhance or undermine our message.
absolutely.
It's like we're constantly sending out signals,
Yeah.
whether we realize it or not.
We are.
And the more aware we are of those signals,
Yeah.
the more effectively we can communicate our
Yeah.
intentions and create those magnetic connections
Right.
that we're all looking for.
Exactly.
This is so fascinating. I feel like I'm finally,
Good.
starting to understand
Yeah.
the subtle nuances of attraction
Yeah.
and how to create those genuine, effortless connections.
Absolutely.
All right, this is great stuff.
Good.
So we've talked about a lot of external things, right?
We have.
But I feel like, it all boils down to something deeper.
Yeah. Absolutely.
This article, it
Mm.
really emphasizes the importance of being authentic, right?
Yes, it does.
And, we've talked about
Yeah.
like specific things to say and do.
Right.
But I think at the end of the day,
Yeah.
attraction isn't about trying to be someone you're not.
Right.
It's about embracing who you are
Exactly.
and letting your true personality shine through.
Absolutely. It's tempting to try to mold ourselves into what we think the other person wants.
Right.
But ultimately, that's not sustainable.
It's exhausting.
It is, and it's counterproductive.
Yeah.
People are drawn to authenticity.
Oh,
They
yes.
want to connect with the real you,
Right.
not some idealized version
Right,
you've
yeah.
created in your head.
So it's about embracing our quirks,
Yes.
our imperfections, even our insecurities,
Yeah,
and allowing ourselves to be seen for who we truly are.
exactly. It's about owning your story, your experience, your unique perspective on the world.
Because ultimately, that's what makes you interesting and attractive.
It is.
It's the things that make you different, that make you stand out from the crowd.
Absolutely.
It's like that saying, what makes you vulnerable makes you beautiful.
I like that.
Right. It's those
Yeah.
little imperfections
Yeah.
that make you relatable,
Uh-huh.
human, and ultimately more desirable.
Yes, I agree.
This is making me think about all the times
Yeah.
I've tried to be someone I'm not
Yeah.
in order to, impress someone.
Yeah.
It's like I was wearing a mask,
Right.
and it just felt suffocating.
I think we've all been there. We try to say the right things, dress a certain way, act in a way that we think will make us more desirable.
Right.
But ultimately, it's all an act,
Yeah.
and it's exhausting trying to keep it up.
And it's not sustainable.
No.
Right? Like sooner or later,
Yeah.
the real you is going to come out.
Oh.
And if it's drastically different from the persona you've been projecting,
Right.
it can be a real turnoff.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like building a relationship on a foundation of lies.
Right.
It's bound to crumble eventually.
This is making me realize
Yeah.
how important it is to be true to ourselves.
Yeah.
Even in the early stages of,
Yeah.
dating or getting to know someone.
Absolutely. Authenticity is key.
Yeah.
When you're genuine, people can sense it,
Okay.
and it creates a foundation of trust and respect
Yeah.
that is essential for any lasting connection.
It's like you're saying, this is me, take it or leave it.
Exactly.
And that confidence, that self-acceptance is incredibly attractive.
It is.
This is so empowering. I'm feeling inspired to embrace my authentic self
good.
and let my true personality shine through.
That's the spirit. Remember, confidence comes from within.
Okay.
It's about believing in yourself,
Yeah.
your own value, regardless of what anyone else thinks.
And when we believe in ourselves
Yeah.
and embrace our uniqueness,
Yeah.
it radiates outward and draws people to us.
It does. It
Mhm.
does. It's like you become a magnet for the right people, the people who appreciate you for who you truly are.
That's beautiful.
It is.
One thing that really struck me about this article is its focus on creating genuine connections.
Yeah.
It's not just about, getting dates or hooking up.
Right.
It's about building meaningful relationships with people who appreciate us for who we are.
Exactly. And that starts with being honest with ourselves
Okay.
about what we want and what we're looking for in a partner.
It's about knowing our worth
Yes.
and not settling for anything less than we deserve.
Absolutely.
And it's about being willing to be vulnerable and let people see the real us.
Yeah.
Even if it means risking rejection.
Because ultimately, it's better to be rejected for who we are than loved for who we're pretending to be.
That's so true.
Yeah.
This is such a refreshing perspective.
Good.
I'm starting to see how much pressure we put on ourselves to be perfect. When in reality, our imperfections are often what make us unique and interesting.
Exactly. It's like that Japanese concept of wabi-sabi,
Oh, I love that.
finding beauty in imperfection.
Yes.
Right.
Embracing our flaws and imperfections can actually make us more attractive
It can.
and relatable.
It's like you're saying, I'm not perfect, and that's okay.
Right.
And that self-acceptance is incredibly magnetic.
This is making me realize how much I've been holding myself back
Hmm.
by trying to fit into some idealized version of myself.
I think we all do it to some extent.
Yeah.
We compare ourselves to others, we try to meet societal expectations,
Right.
and we forget that our true value lies in our individuality.
This is so liberating. I'm feeling inspired to
Yeah.
embrace my authentic self
Yeah.
and let my true personality shine through.
That's what it's all about, remembering that you are enough, just as you are.
This has been such an insightful deep dive. I'm feeling so much more confident
Good.
and empowered to, approach my interactions with authenticity and intention.
Me too.
Yeah.
And, the article leaves us with a really thought-provoking question.
Oh, I love a good thought-provoking question.
Okay.
What is it?
It asks, how can you apply these insights to improve your own interactions and create more genuine connections?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Right.
It's a call to action.
It
To
is.
take everything we've learned
Yeah,
and put it into practice.
exactly. Because knowledge is only power when it's applied.
So it feels like we've been kind of conditioned to chase these external markers of attractiveness.
Yeah, I agree.
Look, status, achievements.
Right, those things definitely play a role.
Right.
But they're fleeting, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Lasting attraction comes from a much deeper place.
Yeah, it's about connecting on an emotional and intellectual level.
Exactly.
Finding someone who, shares your values, your passions, your sense of humor.
Yeah, someone who gets you.
Someone who gets you.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that takes time, right?
It does. It
unfolds organically through, shared experiences,
Right.
open communication,
Yeah.
willingness to be vulnerable.
Yeah, you can't force it.
No.
You certainly can't fake it.
And I've definitely fallen into that trap,
I think we all have at some point.
of trying to impress people
Yeah,
or put on a facade thinking that's what they wanted.
we've all been there, but the thing is,
Yeah.
trying to be someone you're not is exhausting.
Oh, it's so exhausting.
It's like wearing a costume that doesn't quite fit.
Yeah, and eventually the seams start to show,
They
right?
do. They do.
The real you inevitably comes out.
Yeah,
And if it clashes with the image you've been projecting,
Right.
it can be a major turnoff.
exactly. It's like building a relationship on a formation of sand.
Right. Yeah.
It's not going to weather the storms.
No, it's not.
But when you embrace your authenticity
Yeah.
and allow yourself to be vulnerable, that's when the magic happens.
That's when you create the space for genuine connection.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's about having the courage to say, this is me, take it or leave it.
Right.
And you know what? The right people will stay.
They will, because they're not attracted to the mask. They're attracted to the person beneath it.
Exactly. They see your flaws, your quirks, your vulnerabilities,
Yeah.
and they love you all the more for them.
That's beautiful.
It is.
That's where true intimacy lies, right?
It is, yeah. And the ability to be fully seen and accepted for who you are.
Yeah.
Imperfections and all.
This is making me realize how important it is to surround myself with people who celebrate my authenticity,
Absolutely.
who make me feel safe to be myself
Yeah.
without judgment.
Yeah. It's about finding your tribe.
Yeah.
Those people who reflect your values back to you, challenge you to grow, love you unconditionally.
That's where true happiness lies,
It is.
right? And the freedom to be yourself, surrounded by people who cherish the real you.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've talked about being authentic.
We have.
But something else that really struck me about this article is the reminder that attraction is a two-way street.
Yeah, I agree.
It's not just about finding someone you're attracted to, it's also about being someone who is attractive to others.
Exactly. And that starts with cultivating your own inner world, right?
Okay.
Your confidence, your passions, your sense of purpose.
So it's about living a life that lights you up,
Yes.
that makes you feel alive and excited.
Exactly. Because that energy, that passion
Yes.
is contagious.
Right.
It draws people in. It makes you magnetic.
Okay, so it's not about trying to be someone you're not.
Right.
It's about becoming the best version of yourself.
Yes. And when you're genuinely happy and fulfilled,
Yeah.
you radiate an energy that's impossible to ignore.
I like that.
Yeah.
This is so empowering. It's a reminder that we have a lot more control over our attractiveness than we think.
I agree. Yeah, it's not just about luck or fate, right? It's about the choices we make every day
Yeah.
to cultivate our inner world and express our authentic selves.
And the beautiful thing is, when you focus on becoming the best version of yourself,
Yeah,
you naturally attract people who are on a similar wavelength.
absolutely.
People who appreciate your values, your passions, your unique way of being in the world.
Exactly. It's about aligning your inner world with your outer world.
All right.
So you're attracting people who are genuinely compatible with the real you.
This has been such an insightful
Great.
and transformative deep dive.
I agree.
I feel like I've gained a whole new perspective on attraction,
Yeah,
communication, and the power of authenticity.
me too. And I think the key takeaway here
Okay.
is that while there are definitely things we can do to enhance our attractiveness,
Yeah.
it all starts with self-love and acceptance.
When you believe in yourself and embrace your unique qualities,
Yes,
you become a magnet for the right kind of connections.
absolutely.
You attract people who see you, appreciate you, and love you for who you truly are.
And that's what it's all about, isn't it?
Yeah.
Finding those people who make you feel seen, heard, and understood. People who celebrate your individuality and inspire you to be your best self.
This has been such an inspiring conversation.
It has.
I feel so grateful for the opportunity to have explored this topic with you and to have gained these new insights.
The pleasure was all mine.
It's definitely given me a lot to think about.
Yeah, remember, the journey to finding love and connection is a lifelong adventure.
Right.
It's about learning, growing, and continually evolving into the best version of yourself.
And isn't that the most beautiful part of it all?
It is.
This constant evolution,
Yeah.
this striving to become the best version of ourselves, that's what makes life so rich and rewarding.
Beautifully said. And to all our listeners out there, remember, the most important relationship you'll ever have is the one you have with yourself. Nurture that relationship, embrace your authenticity, and watch the magic unfold. Until next time.
So it feels like we've been, conditioned to chase these external markers of attractiveness.
Yeah.
Like looks, status, achievements.
Those things definitely play a role,
Right.
but they're fleeting.
Yeah.
Right. True.
Oh.
Lasting attraction comes from a much deeper place.
It's about connecting on an emotional and intellectual level.
Exactly.
Finding someone who shares your values, passions, your sense of humor, someone who, gets you.
Someone gets you, exactly.
Yeah, and that takes time.
It does. It takes time and unfolds organically
Right.
through shared experiences, open communication, and a willingness to be vulnerable.
You can't force it.
No, you can't force it, and you certainly can't fake it.
I've definitely fallen into the trap of trying to, impress people or put on a facade thinking that's what they wanted.
I think we all have at some point, right?
Yeah.
But the thing is, trying to be someone you're not is it's exhausting.
It's so exhausting.
It's like wearing a costume that doesn't quite fit, right?
Right, and eventually the seams start to show.
Exactly.
Right. The real you inevitably comes out. And if it clashes with the image you've been projecting,
Right.
it can be a major turnoff.
It can be, yeah. It's like building a relationship on a foundation of sand.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to weather the storms.
No.
But when you embrace your authenticity and allow yourself to be vulnerable, that's when the magic happens.
Yeah, that's when you create the space for genuine connection.
Exactly. It's about having the courage to say, this is me, take it or leave it. And you know what? The right people will stay.
They will, because they're not attracted to the mask. They're attracted to the person beneath it.
Exactly. They see your flaws, your quirks, your vulnerabilities, and they love you all the more for them.
That's beautiful.
It is.
That's where true intimacy lies.
It is, yeah, in the ability to be fully seen and accepted for who you are, imperfections and all.
This is making me realize how important it is to surround myself with people who celebrate my authenticity.
Absolutely.
People who make me feel safe to be myself without judgment.
It's about finding your tribe. Those people who reflect your values back to you, challenge you to grow, love you unconditionally.
That's where true happiness lies, right?
I think so.
In the freedom to be yourself, surrounded by people who cherish the real you.
Exactly.
So we've talked about being authentic,
We have.
but something else that really struck me about this article was the reminder that attraction is a two-way street.
Yeah, it is. I agree.
It's not just about finding someone you're attracted to.
Right.
It's also about being someone who is attractive to others.
Exactly. And that starts with cultivating your own inner world. Right. Confidence, your passions, your sense of purpose.
So it's about living a life that lights you up, that makes you feel alive and excited.
Yes, exactly. Because that energy, that passion is contagious.
It is, yeah.
It draws people in. It makes you magnetic.
It's not about trying to be someone you're not.
Right.
It's about becoming the best version of yourself.
Yes, and when you're genuinely happy and fulfilled,
Yeah.
you radiate an energy that's impossible to ignore.
This is so empowering. It's a reminder that we have a lot more control over our attractiveness than we think.
We do. Yeah.
It's not just about luck or fate.
Right. It's about the choices we make every day to cultivate our inner world and express our authentic selves.
And the beautiful thing is, when you focus on becoming the best version of yourself, you naturally attract people who are on a similar wavelength.
You do, absolutely.
People who appreciate your values, your passions, your unique way of being in the world.
Exactly. It's about aligning your inner world with your outer world, right?
Yeah.
So you're attracting people who are genuinely compatible with the real you.
This has been such an insightful and transformative deep dive.
It has been, I agree.
I feel like I've gained a whole new perspective on attraction, communication, the power of authenticity.
Me too. And I think the key takeaway here is that while there are definitely things we can do to enhance our attractiveness, it all starts with self-love and acceptance.
Yeah, when you believe in yourself and embrace your unique qualities, you become a magnet for the right kind of connections.
Absolutely.
You attract people who see you, appreciate you, and love you for who you truly are.
And that's what it's all about, isn't it?
It is.
Finding those people who make you feel seen, heard, and understood. People
Yeah.
who celebrate your individuality and inspire you to be your best self.
This has been such an inspiring conversation.
It has.
I feel so grateful for the opportunity to have explored this topic with you and to have gained these new insights.
The pleasure was mine. It really was.
It's definitely given me a lot to think about.
Well, remember, the journey to finding love and connection is a lifelong adventure.
Yeah.
It's about learning, growing, and continually evolving into the best version of yourself.
And isn't that the most beautiful part of it all?
It is. It really is.
This constant evolution, this striving to become the best versions of ourselves. That's what makes life so rich and rewarding.
Beautifully said. And to all our listeners out there, remember, the most important relationship you'll ever have is the one you have with yourself. Nurture that relationship, embrace your authenticity, and watch the magic unfold. Until next time.